What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. We've got a pretty crazy Tuesday, to say the least. We're here live, getting ready for the press conference between the ACC, Big Ten, and Pac-12, announcing their alliance. This is going to be a pretty big day for college football. We'll be here reacting and giving. I'll be giving some thoughts here. We might have some guests come through if they are available. But we're going to be giving some live updates. We won't be able to put the stream on here, of course. Don't want to get into some DMCA problems, but we'll be able to bring up some live tweets and coverage on our end and kind of just chit chat about what's going on, man. This is a big thing that has been talked about the last couple of really month or so, a little over, and it's going to be interesting. So let's start getting some live updates here. And we'll go kind of through there and we'll just conversate and bring up some topics inside the chat if you guys would like. Let's see. So let's get into this right here. So right now, from the ACC release on scheduling changes, the scheduling alliance will begin as soon as practical while honoring current contractual obligations. The football scheduling alliance will feature additional attractive matchups across all three conferences. So that's between the Pac-12, ACC, and Big Ten. We kind of heard about that last night a little bit before we got into today. But, this kind of part right here saying featuring, additional attractive matchups is definitely going to, like said here, is going to attract a lot of the college football fans. And that's one of the things here that is first being released. Interesting. You could see it from our side of things, a Florida State versus Oregon. You get to have that rematch there. You could have a USC versus Clemson. It's kind of all over the place. So pretty interesting stuff there. What do you guys think? Put in the comments right now, any kind of matchups you guys would like to see if this all comes to fruition and everything like that. What do you guys think? Let's see. This is no lie there from DF. Everyone versus the SEC. It does seem that way, doesn't it? It does seem that way. The SEC rules kind of college football and in some parts, definitely money wise, monetarily, but the SEC has got that power right now, and I think the SEC, from multiple reports we've seen, they want to continue to strengthen their conference. Mateo says ACC just needs to add West Virginia and Notre Dame, and they could still compete. Let the Pac-12 and Big Ten fight over what's left. Okay. Let's see if we have any more details from. Let's look into the ACC just tweeted, so let's take a look at what they said. Let's see what the ACC has just released. Their site is taking a minute here to load, so that's why we're waiting. But let's see what they have to say with their major announcement this afternoon on Tuesday, August 24th. Here we go. We have it loaded. We will go through all of this. We even have a graphic. Guys. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and pull this up, guys, and start diving into this. I wish we had Mark Rogers on here to jump on here and kind of give us a rundown, but we'll try to do this on our own for the time being. So they want to make this as a historic thing. Titled ACC, Big Ten, and Pac-12 announce the historic alliance. 41 world-class institutions across the anatomy, 5 conferences to collaborate on the future evolution of college athletics and an inter-conference scheduling alliance. From Greensboro, NC and Rosemont, Illinois, and San Francisco, California, the basis for all these conferences. Starts off, the ACC, Big Ten, and Pac-12 today announced a historic alliance that will bring 41 world-class institutions together on a collaborative approach surrounding the future evolution of college athletics and scheduling. The alliance, which was unanimously supported by the presidents, chancellors, and athletics directors at all 41 institutions, will be guided in all cases by a commitment to and prioritization of supporting student athletes' well-being, academic, which is definitely a big focus for all these conferences, and athletic opportunities, including experiences and diverse educational programming. I'm going to use a lot of big words here, people. This is, let's see if I can hold on to it here. The three conferences are grounded in their support of broad-based athletic programs, the collegiate model, and opportunities for student athletes as part of the educational missions of institutions. The three conferences remain competitors in every sense, but are committed to collaborating and providing thought leadership on various opportunities and challenges facing college athletics, including student athlete mental and physical health, safety, wellness, and support, strong academic experience and support, diversity, equity, and inclusion, social justice, gender equity, future structure of the NCAA, federal legislative efforts, and postseason championships and future formats. What does everybody think so far about this? Yeah, no, it is hot in Tallahassee right now. I know the comments are saying so. So let's dive into a little bit more of this. The alliance includes a scheduling component for football and women's and men's basketball designed to create inter-conference games, enhance opportunities for student athletes, and optimize for college athletics experience for both student athletes and fans across the country. The scheduling alliance will begin as soon as practical while honoring current contractual obligations. A working group comprised of athletic directors representing three conferences will oversee the scheduling component of the alliance, including determining the criteria upon which scheduling decisions will be made. All three leagues and their respective institutions understand that scheduling decisions will be evolutionary process given current scheduling commitments. The Football Scheduling Alliance will feature additional attractive matchups across three conferences while continuing to honor historic rivalries. So you're going to continue to have the Florida States. You're going to have the Florida States and Florida. You're going to try to keep the rivalries in the Pac-12. You're going to have your little bit of UCLA and Oregon along with UCLA. You've got USC. So they're going to try to keep all these rivalries in all the different conferences. Of course, Florida State will continue to stay and compete in the ACC with Miami, that rivalry there. Moving on here, in women's and men's basketball, the three conferences will add early and mid-season games as well as annual events that will feature premier matchups between the three leagues. So they'll be adding early and mid-season games into these, okay? The three conferences will also explore opportunities for the vast and exceptional Olympic sports programs to compete more frequently and forge additional attractive and meaningful rivalries. The future scheduling component will benefit student athletes and fans by offering new and memorable experiences that will extend coast to coast across all time zones. The competition will bring a new level of excitement to the fans of the 41 schools while also allowing teams and conferences to have flexibility to continue to play opponents from other conferences, independents, and various teams from other subdivisions. Let's start bringing in some stuff in here real quick if there's any chats. Carla's saying, I think this is going to be a good thing for the ACC and the Pac-10 and the Pac-12. I think there's a lot of intriguing things. We'll definitely get a roundup after we go through all this, but there's definitely some intriguing things in this. USC for FSU, I've been kind of talking about this. I would love a matchup like this. USC is one of the games that I always played on EA Sports, the video game, and I would love that. I always played with Reggie Bush. I mean, why not? But USC versus FSU, I'd pay money. It would be I think both teams, both fan bases would love to come down to Tallahassee and then also go over there to Southern California. So I'm all about that matchup there. Slick is saying Ohio State versus FSU. Sign me up once again. I kind of wish Urban Meyer was still there because I think that would be even better of a matchup there. But I'm all for a little Ohio State versus FSU. And then a little throwback Thursday here, a little Florida State versus Penn State. Sign me up. I love it. TFJ Boxing, definitely appreciate the very nice contribution there. Definitely appreciate it. Should have included the Big 12. Yeah, they're kind of being left out to dry, guys. It's something interesting to keep an eye on for sure. Let's look. Carla's also saying, I'd like to see Florida State and Ohio State play each other. Yep. And we talked about that just a little bit ago. I'm all for it. TFJ is also saying, meaning some of the remaining teams that didn't go to the SEC, goodbye NCAA. Mike's saying this alliance will be awesome. Go Noles. Yeah, I would love to see a rematch here, Trey, on Florida State versus Oregon. Please, please. I'm all for it. And one last thing before we dive back further, this is going to be good for the college football. So let's keep diving into this and see if there's any more additional details we need to jump into. So I don't know if you guys can kind of read this or not. I would love to zoom this in for y'all if I can. Let me zoom in the text for you guys while I'm here so you guys can see it a little bit more, because I know it's a little small. If I can find a way to zoom in on here. Let's see. Here we go. Is that a little bit better for you guys? Can y'all see that? That seems a little bit closer for y'all. Okay, perfect. All right, let's jump into some of this here. I believe we stopped. Right. Yep. Okay, so right here. The ACC, Big Ten, and Pac-12 recognize the unique environment and challenges currently facing intercollegiate athletics, and we are proud and confident in this timely and necessary alliance that brings together like-minded institutions and conferences focused on the overall educational missions of our preeminent institutions, says ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips, who is new to the reins of the ACC as a commissioner. The alliance will ensure that the educational outcomes and experiences for student athletes participating at the highest level of collegiate athletics will remain the driving factor in all decisions moving forward. Student athletes have been and will remain the focal point of the Big Ten, ACC, and Pac-12 conferences, said Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren. Today, through this alliance, we furthered our commitment to our student athletes by prioritizing our academics and athletics value systems. We are creating opportunities for student athletes to have elite competition and are taking the necessary steps to shape and stabilize the future of college athletics. So they want to have better competition. And, there's a lot of storylines and a lot of competition. And we talked about it just a little bit ago about the matchups that could be laid on the line here for some of these schools in the future. The historic alliance announced today between the Pac-12, ACC, and Big Ten is grounded in a commitment to our student athletes. Once again, this is big. This is riding heavy on the student athletes, trying to give them the support, the back end, having their back, and letting them know that you're going to be getting better by facing better competition. Said the Pac-12 Commissioner George Klevakov. Sorry if I'm ruining the name there, George. We're just going to go with George. We believe that collaborating together, and we are stronger in our commitment to addressing the broad issues and opportunities facing college athletics. Let's jump into this. This seems like the big part here for the rest of this kind of piece here, and jump into this. There's a comment on here I want to bring up. Jacob saying this is a big for basketball. Yeah, no, this would be the be all end all be all, like the alliance conference for basketball. You couldn't imagine how many big teams, the different matchups, the storylines, the different kind of rivalries you could build. I mean, it has a lot of potential here, but overall the basketball would take a big W here too, along with football. Let's jump into this right here, the bullet points. The ACC, Big Ten, and Pac-12 conferences include world-leading academic institutions committed to shared values of supporting the next generation of leaders, innovative research that benefits communities around the world. 27 of the 34 autonomy, 5 members in Association of American Universities, 34 institutions ranked in the top 100 national universities. All right, this is all kind of this right here is kind of saying we're awesome, we're the best, this is so cool. We have a lot of trophies, we're really good in academics, we went to the Olympics, we've got good athletes, we know how to study. Boom. This is practically all this. There's no reason to run through all that for you guys. Let's get some quotes here from some of the. Let's jump and find. It seems like this is kind of the end of it here. There might be some more details later on. This is from Duke University President and Chair of the ACC Board of Director, Vincent E. Price. The alliance is first and foremost a statement about the vital connection of academic excellence to college athletics. Our members include 41 of the top public and private universities in the world, which will soon have new ways to compete at the very highest level in sports and to collaborate in education, research, and service to society. Together, we will be able to use our strong voice and united vision to create the best possible experience for our student athletes and institutions. University of Wisconsin Chancellor and Big Ten Conference Council of Presidents, Chancellors, Chair, Dr. Rebecca Blank. That is a gigantic title. That is humongous. Let's just go ahead and give a round of applause to Miss Dr. Rebecca Blank there. She says the Big Ten Conference has always prioritized academic excellence as well as athletic excellence for student athletes. Today's announcement reinforces the values of integrity, fairness, and competitiveness among all members of this alliance and provides additional opportunities for our student athletes to enhance their collegiate experience. Last quote here from University of Oregon President and Chair of the Pac-12 Board, Michael Schill, Board of Directors. The Pac-12 is thrilled to join with so many world-class universities in a collaborative effort to support our student athletes through an unwavering commitment to excellence in academics and athletics. Together, we can help shape a future for college athletics where broad-based athletic programs in concert with educational opportunities allows us to support the next generation of leaders. So, to kind of highlight this, guys, what do you guys think? Bring up some comments on here. What are y'all's thoughts on this so far? I mean, there's kind of a little bit the little bit I take from it here. You're not kind of detailing, future schedules or which team would you take from each conference to compete with one another, and both football, basketball. What would a schedule even look like? I think today, at least if this is just what we're going off of in the post that ACC released, it's solely focused on bringing kind of that unity between all these three conferences, talking about how sexy it is, how great it would be with, the academics along with the competitions that would be there in both football, basketball, and also women. You got the women's sports too. You're talking about, how many athletes you've sent to the Olympics, all that kind of jazz. So it's more of kind of backing up those student athletes here. So let's run through some comments on here. This is from Trey saying, so there will be no more ACC, Pac-12, etc. We will all be one big conference. And this is kind of something I think the ACC is going to want to answer more on. And with I think a lot of people are going to have questions on this. And from what it looks like on here, it seems like you still will keep these conferences. I don't think there will be one big name change to the conference. This is years and years ahead, though. But I think you're kind of picking these guys as an alliance. You're not really changing your conference. You want to move into one big name per se. Let's jump into this question or this comment from Carlos saying, I think it's good for all conference to help them compete with the Southeastern Conference. Yeah, I mean, the SEC, you got to keep up with them right now. They're leading the pack right now in football. There's conferences trying to compete there, and the ACC has had its run, the Big 12 has had its run, the Big 10. There's been different schools, but the SEC has kind of stayed steady there with consistency up top. Dan's saying, let's all take turns reading like elementary school. That's what it felt like there. I'm surprised I was able to make it through there. Yep, like Jacob said, W for basketball. Johnny's saying it would be better than the SEC, more historic teams. Okay. Let's see. Let's put up some more stuff on here. The Pac-41. Yep, like Dinosaur's saying here, it is a big W for academics. They're obviously down in here. They're showing, they're putting their chest out and showing all of the kind of accolades and the innovations that they've made and the generation of leaders that they're trying to make and try to extend that, and also have their back of student athletes. So Null Blooded is predicting that the Big 12 goes to the AAC. I thought you said ACC there. The AAC. Dinosaur saying makes more money for schools with high academic standard. That's true. And you go back and if you're setting up these schedules, there's a lot of sexy kind of scheduling maneuvers that you can do between the ACC, Big 10, and Pac-12, like we talked about earlier. There's a lot of really fun matchups and schedules there. Still trying to focus on your ACC opponents and keeping those rivalries. That's something that every school, and what we read today, that they're trying to keep a focus on. Dan says this is going to bring a lot more money in from out-of-state fans. No Blooded says he likes it. Seems like, says win-win for all. DJ Ferg says, can you imagine USC versus FSU down the line? That's something that I would love. Tell me in the chat right now. We'll put it up on the screen, but tell me which matchup you would like to see if you're an FSU fan, or if you're in the stream and you're a fan of another school. Which kind of matchups, even if you're an FSU fan or any other, which kind of matchups would you like to see between these three conferences? You're not only looking at football, but you're looking at basketball too. Of course, we're here to talk about some football. I mean, look at the top of the screen. We got a countdown up here: 9 days, 5 hours, 4 minutes, and 20 seconds till football. And I can guarantee you I'm counting every second on that until we actually get to play some ball. But throw in some comments down below on who you would like to see. And if you're new here and you just joined, definitely appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button, comment, definitely leave a comment and like the video. If you've enjoyed it so far, would definitely appreciate it. But if you haven't subscribed, we would definitely big time appreciate it. We try to do content every day for you guys. Live streams. We do a show every once a week, and we'll be recapping games this upcoming season. So Dinosaur saying Oregon, USC, UCLA, ASU, and Colorado. Let's see. Myron Sanders saying FSU and Ohio State number one. I think there's a lot of people. I think it's between FSU and USC, or FSU versus Ohio State, that a lot of people in the comments are saying right now. No Blooded is saying a rematch of Oregon versus FSU. Let me go and stop sharing this. Rematch of Oregon versus FSU. Okay. I'm all about that. I'm all about that. So I went to the 2013 national championship in Pasadena. Didn't go to the Oregon game. So I think I take the blame for that, for Florida State losing. I'm sorry. I take the blame there. But yeah, I would love to see a rematch there, Florida State versus Oregon. I would like to wait, maybe give it a few years, and that's kind of how this whole alliance would be shaping into it. It's going to take a good amount of time, but I'm all for it. Ohio, Michigan. I think that one's already in the books right now, Dinosaur. FSU versus more West teams means will help with recruiting because of exposure. Okay. Yeah. Now, Florida State has done a pretty decent job on the West Coast. I would say a lot better than they had in the last, decade before. But I do agree, within an alliance like that, it spreads a lot more. That word goes around a bit. FSU versus Michigan, some more FSU versus Michigans, maybe a lot like the Oregon, not the Oregon, but the Orange Bowl from just a few years ago. Time is flying by, though. A bad Nebraska. Scott Frost coming down to Tallahassee. Eyes emoji. I'm about it. Talked about this one a little bit ago, but Florida State versus Penn State. You bring back that good old kind of storyline there, and that would be a fun one. I'm all about it. I would love a home and home there. That would be one I would kill to have a home and home. I think both schools have a great environment. That kind of tenacity inside both stadiums, definitely an 8:00 game. That energy, I'm all about it. Give me it. Both fan bases are strong when it comes down to game days, along with nighttime games. Johnny's saying FSU versus USC or Ohio State would be great. Yep, those are probably my top two right there. Dan London says FSU versus the world. Myron's saying Big Ten schools has had a secret pact for years to not schedule FSU for home and home, and they use the offensive name thing as an excuse. It ends today. Interesting. For all the hype, this seems feckless, says Tollison. Let's look and see if there's anything new. So Tollison's kind of thinking here, not thinking so much of it being a great move, or just seems rushed, maybe. I mean, a lot of these conferences, what they're doing, I mean, it had to kind of be quick. The SEC right now is really pulling after some big time schools. We've heard a little things there and back about, SEC trying to grab Clemson along with Florida State. That's something that I think behind the scenes, I would not say no to. I would say, I'm not going to say that's not happening. I wouldn't be shocked at all, because we've heard that the SEC is one to grow. You've got two big time programs with Clemson and Florida State. Florida State, as we hope, we see them rising soon. Those are two big teams right there that the SEC would kill to have, and it's right there in their neck of the woods of the Southeast. Nick says, I would like to see Clemson and Michigan. Okay, I like that. I'm all about it. Harbaugh and Dabo going at it. No Blooded says recruiting would be off the chain. Okay, like it. Clemson versus NC State. Nick also says down here below. Zakarian says, as a Clemson fan, I'd love to see Ohio State play us in a regular season matchup for the first time ever. So you're about like would you like to do a home and home, where you go to Death Valley, then you go up to Ohio State, or would you be down for a matchup that's a neutral site? I'm a big home and home. I think they're way more fun. I get the chance of going to experience a new school, get that whole new kind of cultural environment of being at a matchup like that at a different college. And I think it's great for local business, all that kind of stuff. I can ramble on about it, but I'm all about it. Home and away. Okay. Yep. I agree. I think, there's a lot of money that goes into neutral site games, and that's understandable with sponsors and along with a lot of other things. But home and homes, I think, are hopeful. I hope if this were to be an alliance here, I hope there's a lot of focus on home and home matchups rather than neutral site games. And that's something taken from what we read, it seems like a little focus there. The main thing from this article, though, that was released, a press release, is that this focuses towards, backing up the student athletes, both academically and competitive wise, on a year-to-year basis. I am good with a home and home matchup. Yep, I'm right there with you. I'm all for them. But I'll just ask here, in the comments, what do you guys think? Do you guys like the idea or do you not? And if, kind of give your reasons. If you do, we'll put them on here and we'll talk about them here for the last little bit on YouTube. But tell me if you guys like it, if positive, negative, are you 50-50? And I think for the most part, we see in the comments today that, people are excited about this kind of move and allowing all three of them to align. And, I would love to kind of sit back and hear some more thoughts on the social media too. Just got a quote here from the Pac-12 commissioner, George. We're just going to keep it at George. I'm going to screw up his last name, but Pac-12 commissioner George said that there is no intention to stop our teams from also scheduling games against any conferences they want to schedule games against. They'll have flexibility. So we're seeing a lot of the options here from all the commissioners, and from the piece we just read, there's going to be a lot of flexibility on who you want to schedule, along with keeping your rivalries and also keeping your in-conference games. ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips just said, we want and need the Big 12 to do well. The 12 matters in college athletics. The Big 12 matters in Power 5 athletics. So that's some comment there from the ACC commissioner. Let's get in some comments here on this. At the end of the day, as an ACC fan, this just feels like a weak statement. They aren't even playing games for years. So I'm wondering, games for years there. Tollison, what are you meaning by that? They aren't even playing games for years. Well, okay, now I get it. So you're saying in the future. Yeah, I mean what the ACC is doing, or the SEC is doing, it's going to take a while before that happens. But if you're looking at the ACC along with the alliance that they're trying to build, that's going to take a couple years. They're just trying to keep up, it seems like, and it's all for money too. And the end of it all, saying FSU versus Michigan, Penn State, Nebraska. I would love a good old school FSU versus Nebraska. I can't lie about that. And I'd love to go to a Nebraska game up there. Nick says, I like it, but would like to know more about it. I'm right there with you. There's definitely some more. I think there's some more juice that could be fulfilled in a lot of this. And the announcement, they kind of kept it pretty basic. And we kind of heard some rumors last night. That's all this was a little bit to be, but we'll see if there's any more on the next couple minutes. Johnny says, what about two teams from each Big Ten and Pac-12 play every year and rotate teams? That's a potential possibility that I think all the commissioners are pointing out. There's a lot of flexibility for these teams on scheduling. That's what we just heard, I believe, from the Pac-12 commissioner, George K. Dan's saying this is great. This is great. Maybe it removes cupcake games on the schedule. And I'm not sure if it really does. I think in that press release we saw that you will keep those games because those are kind of pivotal for definitely the smaller schools to come in. They can make some money, but it seems like maybe the strength of schedules will rise because you're able to have that alliance and go compete with the and other conferences. This is what Tollison is saying. I just feel like this is the best the ACC commission has got. Maybe it's time for UNC, FSU, and Clemson, with maybe Georgia Tech, Duke, and Virginia should leave for the SEC. I don't know if the SEC would take a few of those. I don't know. I don't know if they would. And, like I said, this is not just from the ACC. This is along with the Big Ten and the Pac-12. So this isn't just solely focused. This wasn't just solely focused, from the ACC commissioner. This is around all three conferences. Brennan's saying maybe this will push Notre Dame's football team into joining the ACC. Okay. Well, they irritate me with that whole thing. I mean, with them, you have them in the ACC last year because, you have COVID-19. The only reason they were joining is because of a damn pandemic. That's the only reason you were able to get them in the friggin' conference. If they don't want to be about it, then don't let them in. Let them kind of be off on their own like they already are. But you're missing out on a lot of things and conference championships, and a lot of other goodies that come with being in a conference. So let them kind of do their thing. If they would like to join, of course, it would make the conference that competitive edge goes up more. But the thing is, if they're not about it, then bye. DF says, I can't wait for FSU versus Oregon State or Purdue. I'm about it. I'm down for a little Oregon trip. I'd rather face Oregon first instead of Oregon State. James B says, funny how ESPN is not featuring this announcement on the app. If it was on newspaper, it would be buried on page 15. What, is ESPN not putting this out anywhere? I'm seeing Twitter's going wild with it. I'm trying to see if we have some more quotes here. This was just tweeted just a little bit ago from Bruce Feldman saying the Pac-12 commissioner George K. on the alliance. There is no signed document, and there doesn't need to be. There is a commitment from 3 commissioners and 41 presidents and athletic directors. Okay, so nothing's being signed. It's all a commitment from what we're hearing. Let's look and see if we have any more quotes. Let's look at some more quotes here. ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips just said on not having a signed contract between conferences, he says it's about trust. We looked each other in the eye and made it an agreement. So nothing is signed. Brett McMurphy says that is, of course, until SEC comes calling with a better offer and invites any of those schools to join. So that's one thing looking at this that you can take out of is that there's nothing been signed, guys. Nothing has been official, nothing signed. If the SEC wants to come poach, let's say, a Florida State or Clemson, right now, nothing's signed there. I mean, there's still the legalities of the contract from way back when. I mean, Florida State, has signed a big-time thing with the ACC. But let's see. James is saying, in the one link, they do have Paul Feinbaum in his comment yesterday saying that this is embarrassing for these conferences. We don't give a damn what Paul Feinbaum thinks. I hope we all are in contention here, right, everyone? I think we're all in contention there on Paul Feinbaum. NFL-style schedule, few games in different conferences, swap every year. Okay, so let's look and see if there's any new quotes here from any of the... the one of the question marks here is what's going on with the Big 12? Why isn't this alliance allowing or working with the Big 12 on this? Why are they being left out? What's going on there? The Big 12, Pac-12, and ACC alliance will include scheduling component for football and women's and men's hoops designed to create new interconference games, which we just talked about, and enhance the opportunities. The scheduling alliance will begin as soon as practical. while honoring current contractual obligation. Okay, so we've already talked about that. So yeah, so that's practically, the rundown of everything. I'm trying to think if there's anything more. James is noting here, commenting no contract, then it's all fluff. And that's, the SEC still is there. They can grab someone. Nothing has been signed. It's all been a shook deal, but there's not been pen to paper yet. So No Blooded is saying the FSU does not need to join the SEC. What do you guys think? We have a lot of Florida State fans on here. I know we have a few of some other schools on here joining us, but what Florida State fans, do you think Florida State should join the SEC? Do you think it's good, bad? Why? Why shouldn't Florida State join the SEC? There's a lot of positives, there's a lot of negatives. I think in the time frame of what Florida State is in right now, it wouldn't be a good time to join. But that's the thing, the time frame. This wouldn't become reality and for multiple years. That's something to note on. Florida State is definitely down right now, as we all know, but these kind of things and these conference changes and all that kind of stuff of joining a new conference, that wouldn't happen just flick of the wrist, and that's just like that. It would be numerous years before that becomes a reality. So that's something worth noting. Lewis is saying Feinbaum doesn't know squat. Hey, I like that comment there. Best one. James B. Thanks for coming on here, James. Hey, I definitely appreciate it, guys. If you're on here, we definitely appreciate it. Take maybe a second just to smack the like button. We'd definitely appreciate it. I'm trying to do these a little bit more. It's kind of tough doing it solo dolo. Usually I have a few more guests on here or co-hosts, but I'm trying to run through this solo dolo and jump on here. I gotta do some schoolwork here soon, but definitely wanted to kind of come on here and chit chat with you guys about some big stuff happening in college football. So definitely, if you want to hit the like button or subscribe if you're new, would definitely really appreciate it, and definitely love that y'all are hanging out with me on this wonderful Tuesday here in Tallahassee. No Blooded says the SEC will treat FSU like Kentucky and Vanderbilt. You think so? I think it would be a little while. I mean, right now it might be in that case, but Florida State is not in that level of Kentucky and Vanderbilt. I understand where you're kind of coming from, though. Vanderbilt. James says, I don't know about that. Those teams don't have national championships to their name in that football anyway. How about you just kick away a Vanderbilt and a Kentucky, like No Blooded is saying down here? What about if you take away those, boom, and then you replace that with a Clemson, Florida State, SEC wise? Yeah, Tracy's all. You're right here, Tracy, saying Feinbaum is biased in favor of the SEC. That's been that way for God knows how many years now, guys. How many years? It's ridiculous. Lewis, definitely appreciate you big time. Thanks for liking and sharing. I'm excited for football season coming up. We got a lot of content coming on the channel, but definitely appreciate you for liking and also sharing this with your friends. Really, really appreciate it. Let's look at James's comment here. The SEC rejected Florida State for decades, and then the one opportunity we had to join, we rejected them, so it ain't going to happen. I don't know. I think the SEC, I don't know. It's definitely a relationship that's had its ups and downs. It's all going to come down to one thing there, and that's moolah. But that relationship would have a lot to work on. Rick says, I'd rather FSU to the SEC than watching FSU play Iowa and Purdue. As I would say, Florida State should have a higher say-so on who they're going to be scheduling. They said that all the commissioners said that there's a lot of fairness. There will be flexibility on who you're scheduling, but there's got to be a thing where you got the Florida State, the Clemson, let's say Notre Dame joins in, the ACC, whichever. Those guys have high priority on who's scheduling who in that kind of regard. I mean, this is still, like we said, this is just an agreement over everything, but there's still a lot of things that still got to go into this. But I would hope that Florida State wouldn't be playing Iowa and Purdue. Let's say it's in 3 or 4 years, and it's the first year with this say-so alliance, and you've got Florida State starting off with Iowa and Purdue. That would be absolutely disappointing, Rick. Most certainly. I'm right there with you. Tollison saying, how is this any different from the current situation? This is just a non-conference scheduling. Now, it kind of feels that way. I'm interested to hear some more details on it. This was very dry. I think we can all agree here. This was very dry. We've had a few comments before saying we need some more details here. This has been pretty bleak, let's say. So we need more. We need more comments from commissioners, but I want to see some details and how these scheduling. What would can I get a mock draft? Like a mock draft of what a scheduling system would look like throughout those three conferences for a season in 2024. Just got on here. Can you explain what's all the hun about, please? Hey, Jeffrey, thanks for hopping on. We're talking about the ACC, Big Ten, and the Pac-12 and the agreement. Nothing has been signed, but there has been an agreement made between these, and they have announced an alliance. A lot of it has been predicated, at least from today, on the focus on backing up their student athletes, creating better competition, the academic standard that will continue to rise with these three joining in. There will be definitely schedule changes. You'll be able to have still your rivalries, your in-state conference games, but you'll have the availability of a Florida State, let's say, going to grab let's say an Oregon, a USC, there's that kind of flexibility to kind of rise. I mean, money that adds in more money there with those matchups. So, this when we end this live, you'll be able to go back to the beginning of the stream, Jeffrey, and go check out the rest. Yep. James, first off, James, thanks for definitely being chatty in here and engaging today, but definitely the 25 bomb, definitely appreciate you big time for hopping on here. And definitely I am right there. It is syllabus week. So usually after syllabus week, it's time to drink a little bit and have a good time. So I definitely will be grabbing some beers. I can't get too crazy because after this next weekend, we're getting ready for Notre Dame to come into house. So I can't be drinking too much, but after studying this week, I definitely will. So thank you, James. Appreciate the nice contribution. Definitely appreciate it big time. And thanks for engaging on the stream today. FSU versus Indiana will be a hot ticket. DJ Matthews is over there right now. Former Null wide receiver. Rick Derrick is saying that FSU Oregon rematch does need to happen, though. We need to return that ass whipping. I'm right there with you, Rick. I'm right there with you. I think a lot of Florida State fans are in agreement there with you. I gotta learn your name, AD. I gotta find a nickname for you because you're always in our comments on every live stream. Aiden, can I call you Aiden? Would that be easier for me? But he's saying, Rick, he agrees with you. Straight facts. JG saying, SEC, congrats on never-ending parade of out of conference games now and forever. Jeffrey saying, thanks, bud. Makes sense. Yeah, Jeffrey, I've definitely, once this live ends, go back and check out the beginning of this. We ran through the whole entire press release from the ACC, Big Ten, and Pac-12. Gave thoughts, went through some comments, and all that kind of jazz. But if there's anything more that you guys want to comment, definitely would appreciate it. If you want to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button right now. I think we're at 19 likes. I think we can get to 25 likes before we get off of here. Would definitely appreciate it if you guys did smack that like button down below. Trying to think if there's anything more. I don't think there's been anything else released. It seems pretty quiet. Pretty quiet announcement. Big 12's Kevin Warren and Big 12 Commissioner George Kay said that their leagues will have to address whether to drop from 9 to 8 conference games because of the scheduling alliance. So it seems like there's still some things that they need to figure out. Kevin Warren from the Big 12 says, I wouldn't say this is a reaction to Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC, but to be totally candid, you have to evaluate what's going on in the landscape of college athletics. So obviously, the SEC moves and Texas and Oklahoma getting over there. What does that kind of reaction do to some of these other conferences and the commissioners? And they're saying, it's not really anything, but let's stop it. Of course, this is happening because of SEC and what they're doing. So let's don't be too silly. I'm trying to think. Ugdon Bay. Okay, I got it. Ugdong Bay. Okay, I hope I remember that on our show tomorrow night. Ugdon Bay, but I definitely appreciate you always being in here and commenting. No SEC, why beat your team up all year, says Johnny. They're gonna be battling it out, but yeah, definitely appreciate everybody hopping on here. Definitely, if you want to hit the like button, subscribe down below. We're posting content almost every day here at NolanGameDay.com. Appreciate all of you hopping on here. You guys are awesome. I hope y'all have a great rest of y'all's day. We'll be live on Wednesday night with 2013 national champion Roberto Aguayo on Hear the Spear. So we'll be live on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. We'll be talking with him. We'll also be talking about the second scrimmage that Florida State went through. We'll be giving our season predictions too. Our season predictions will be dropping on Wednesday night too on that show. So definitely appreciate you guys. Everybody have a wonderful afternoon. Y'all have a great rest of y'all's week. And we will talk to you live on here on Wednesday night. See you guys. Appreciate you. And real quick, because I just saw this comment, JG, no, this does not mean that Florida versus Florida State is over. Nope. It was commented by in the Alliance press release that these rivalries will stay. So that's not changing. Nothing there. Rivalries will stay the same. All right, guys. Y'all have a good afternoon. I'm going to go do some schoolwork. Y'all be good. Bye.